Thank you for your attention. I appreciate it. Got a lot to talk about after watching Jason bounce around the stage. I can understand that. I've known him a long time. By way of introduction, my name is Craig Shepard, and I have been with Sensi nearly 8 years, and I've been kind of tucked away in the consultant support department. I train all of the consultant support reps that you guys talk to when you call in. So hopefully they're doing a good job. Are we doing a good job? Good. If they don't, I've got to change my ways. So we got a lot of seats in the center, so if at all possible, we may want to have you edge sitters kind of move towards the middle, open up a few extra seats on the outside that people might be able to slip into. We'll also have, because of the position of that projector, we're going to have some Mystery Science Theater 3000 heads on the screen, so watch yourself there. I don't think it'll burn your hair, so. All right, so like I said before, this is the social media strategy breakout, and we're glad to have you here. It's something that this breakout has 3 objectives. We want to talk a little bit about building your online persona. We want to talk about team leadership through social media. We want to also talk about social selling and social recruiting, and we'll get to all of those things. We're going to introduce some tools that Sensi has provided, and we're going to talk a little bit, or show you a little bit, about some of our top-selling social media leaders and some of the strategies that they've employed. They're going to impart some of their wisdom to each and every one of you. So when we build one of these social media breakouts, we typically believe that maybe there's 2 types of people that attend. And the first type of people that attend are those that are really excited about social media. They're already on it, they love it, and can't wait to hear more. Okay, so that's one type of people. The other type is like, man, I hate social media. I don't know why we use it, and I hope there's a drawing in this session. Because otherwise it's a waste of my time. How many of you are in that section? It's a waste of my time section. Okay, so I got one hand, one brave hand came up. Maybe there's a couple more that just didn't want to admit it, and that's okay. So for those of you that are not as savvy with social media, we hope that we can give you something, tools and maybe some tips and tricks that might help you understand it a little bit more and maybe integrate it into your strategy. By no means are we here to tell you that you should drop what you're doing, especially if what you're doing is working for you. We want you to understand that social media can be a tool that you can add to your strategy, and hopefully in a way you can make it work for you a little bit better. Plenty of seats right up here. You bet. I showered this morning, you're going to be fine. Okay, so as I talked about, the objectives here are to talk a little bit about building your persona online, social selling, social sponsoring, and team leadership. So we're going to talk about this a little bit. How many of you are currently on some form of social media? Maybe it'd be better to say, how many of you are not on some form of social media? So I got a couple of brave hands again, and that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So social media is a strategy that we feel can help you build your business beyond any of your expectations. I want to make sure I have my notes with me, otherwise I'm going to forget some things. So when we talk about, holding 3 things in my hand is going to be really fun. When we talk about social media, you all, and it speaks volumes how many of you raised your hands when you're on social media, because it really does tell us that even your customers, most of your customers, if not every customer you have, is on some form of social media. And so why shouldn't we employ those types of things to help us in our business? Because that's where your customers are. When we look at the power of social media, we start seeing a lot of untapped business out there yet to be discovered. We start looking at some of the statistics of social media. 500 million people on Pinterest. Now, those gentlemen in the group, how many of you are on Pinterest? Okay, good. I am as well. That's how I got this way. Have you seen the recipes out there? I mean, they are some good-looking pictures of food that every one of you want to make, right? And that's what I've been doing a lot of. But think about that, harnessing that power in your Scentsy business, because there's a lot of images and things that you can put out on Pinterest that are going to help you build your business. 500 million Pinterest users out there and growing. Lots and lots of people that you can touch and tap into out there. 1 billion YouTube page views per month. That's a lot of people watching videos, and you can use that medium to help further your business. 1.5 billion Facebook users. Most of us are probably using Facebook. It's one of the more common social media sites out there. And then again, 400 million and 500 million on Instagram and Twitter. There is so much available customer base out there on these social media sites that we yet have to tap into if we're not using social media. So keep that in mind. There's real power, and I use the word power very liberally when I talk about social media. There's power in that because your customers are out there on social media. Social media can really drive all facets of your business. When you think about what you can do with that medium, social media can be there. It can help you out. It can drive sales. You can run quite a bit of sales through social media. And I'm not speaking necessarily about listing products for sale on social media. We all know that that's probably not the best way to go. Otherwise, we get a little phone call from our compliance department. We don't need that. However, there's a lot of selling structure that you can put out on social media that can help you drive sales in your business. It'll drive recruiting. As you talk about selling with your customers and you're selling product through social media, often those customer conversations will lead to a recruiting experience, or at least the beginnings of a sponsoring experience. And then, of course, team building. If you think about what you can do when your team starts to expand beyond maybe your own little community, and it gets a little bit further out, or maybe you've sponsored someone in a different state or a different country. Social media can be a very strong tool in being able to help team build and provide education to your downline as you grow up. Customer relationships, though, is the underlying reason we want to really start promoting social media. Customer relationships need to be built on social media the exact same way that we build customer relationships in a party environment in your homes. So customer relationships are really a key to this entire breakout session. When you build a customer relationship and you start selling product to those customers see how easy it is for you to do what you do as Scentsy consultants, and they start thinking to themselves, I think I could do that, and I really like the product, and I'd like to try. And when you get that conversation coming out of a consultant or out of a person that you've been talking to on social media, that's when the recruiting starts. So that is that customer relationship that builds the trust, that provides you the way to build your business through social media. And as I said before, social media really is where your customers are. Those numbers are pretty round, the ones that we showed before, and they're growing day by day. So we have a lot of people that we can tap into. Social media definitely is where a lot of your customers are. So Scentsy has come up with a social media model that if you as consultants can master, it will drive a deep and stable section of your business. The social media model includes 3 facets, and it is something that if you can get that taken care of and understand it yourself, then you can drive it down into your teams as well. So it starts with social selling. That's the ability to use the social media model to sell your product and to be able to gather more of a customer base, provide hosts and further parties and such. And then you have a social sponsoring. Social selling always leads to social sponsoring. So as you're selling those products, people are thinking again in their heads, I can do this. And they start to ask you the question, what does it take to be a Scentsy consultant? If you think about it, just think about some of the reasons why you joined Scentsy. It may not have been in a social environment, but the same feelings and the same thoughts come from people that you might touch in a social selling environment. So you get social sponsoring, and as you sponsor people into your team, we all know that we try as best we can to build those people into good sellers themselves. So team leadership, social team leadership can take a big step towards building those teams and providing that education. So as you can see, as that social media model, social strategy starts to spiral, and as you learn that, then you can start driving it into your teams, and it doesn't just stop with you. As you sell product socially, and then you sponsor socially, then you can team build socially, and then that person that you build will start to sell and socially sponsor, and then they can do the team building, and they will sell and sponsor, and it continues to drive a deep spiral in your business. And we all know that a deep, wide base of people builds a long-standing business. This will help that structure become more stable in the selling environment. So that social media model is really what we're trying to build today. There's a lot of ways to get around to that social media model and what we need to do. But first we need to think about building our personal brand. And we call that an online persona. Now, a consistent online persona can help you be found, and it can help you, I want to say it exactly the way they said it in here. It can, let's see, I shouldn't do this. It can help you get found online, build a community, differentiate yourself, find customers, hostesses, and recruits. So that's what having a good, strong, and consistent persona can do. So it's based on the 3 P's of this model, and those three P's start with your personality. Some of the things that you need to think about when we're building a persona online is that your personality drives that customer relationship that will help you connect with people that you didn't necessarily have the ability to connect with ever before. So when you're posting online, you need to think about integrating your personality into just about everything that you do. And the reason for that is, if you have an interest or a hobby, such as maybe you're a quilter, or maybe you work with wood, maybe the biggest craze now is pallet building. You're building something out of pallets, right? Maybe you stacked a pallet on another pallet and then added another pallet and built something. Well, there's somebody out there that relates to exactly that same thing. If you're a quilter, if you have the interest in horses or dogs or cats, or maybe raised llamas, who knows? Those are the interests that will bring people to you through social media. Because you're putting out there your interest in those things, others will gather around you. Building your personality is a very huge key to be able to build your online persona. Then you have some of those posts that have purpose. So when you're out offering your time up to the community, things like maybe you're serving at a soup kitchen, or working at a food bank, or helping at a thrift store, whatever the case may be, you're helping in your community. Post about those things, because those purposeful posts will also draw customers and people that you may not have been able to touch before. As you start expanding outside of your friends, people are going to see your posts through your friends and family's online social media sites, and they're going to see what you're interested in, and when they reach out to you, that's when you can reach back out and touch them as well. And then obviously you have a promotional post, things that you post online that promote your business, such as the 10% off sales, such as Bring Back My Bar. We just had double host half price January. There's been lots of different promotions, and they come often on and off every year or every month. You have a 10% off sale on a brand new Scentsy warmer and a brand new fragrance. Those are things that you can post as promotions. And what you'll hear from one of our experts through video is that she peppers those things in. I love the term, and that's why I use it before she even gets it out. But she peppers it into her persona or her online post, so that she can add that in and it's not always in their face. So building your personal branding through building a persona has to have the 3 P's available to it to make it the most effective thing. Personality, purpose, and promotion. The last thing, and it's not really on this slide, is that there's some social etiquette that we need to employ when we talk about social branding. How many of you have heard of the grandmother rule? Anybody?
Say it again.
The grandmother rule? Okay, so I'm going to explain what the grandmother rule is. We want some social etiquette in our persona because if you're sitting next to everybody respects their grandmother, right? Okay, good. So I'm going down the right path here. If you're sitting next to your grandma and you're surfing Facebook and you pull up a post that doesn't have the grandma rule, you're pretty embarrassed to read it to your grandma. And we all know what those posts look like. They're not professional. They're probably for humor or something other than what your personal brand should be depicting. So if you're embarrassed to read your post to your grandma, that's the grandmother rule, and we should employ a better social etiquette than that when we are building our business because we want to portray a professional brand. So make sure we're using that grandma rule. So Sean and Wendy Robinson, how many of you know Sean and Wendy Robinson? Yeah, there's a couple of you. Sean and Wendy Robinson have built an immense, well, they've taken a lot of time and a lot of effort to build a huge online persona. And they've been able to help us by recording a video and telling us a few of the things that they think about as they're building themselves. And hopefully you'll be able to see something exciting and new that you might be able to put into your own persona. So we'll take a look.
My approach to personal branding online is just to really be me and show me. If I'm excited about my kids, then that gets people interested in me and my kids. And so when I pepper things with business tidbits, people, I know that I care about that too. They're paying attention to me and my kids, maybe my cooking and the things that I'm interested in, our cats, or whatever silly thing that is that I'm talking about. So you have to know what you're interested in, talk about that on whatever social platform, whether it's, we're on everything basically, but whatever we're in, we really try to meter it with who we are and authentic to ourselves and not what we maybe think we should be doing, if that makes sense.
If you're new to social media, you don't have to start out just by gangbusters and throw yourself out there and start throwing, stuff like you out. Go out there lightly and get yourself involved with other people. Not just your conversations. Have conversation and inject yourself in other people's questions. Because once you start doing that and they see that you're engaged with them and you're interested in them, they'll show an interest in you. Or if you have a strong, conversation with them, and they'll reciprocate.
And if you have a buddy, again, buddies, if you have a buddy and you're taking a picture with your kid and buddy, hey, show me a picture of you and your buddy or your favorite Scentsy product, and share a picture. People love sharing about themselves. They like talking about themselves, and they want to know that someone's actually listening and cares about it.
And if you've been on social media for a while now and you get frustrated or anything like that, I tell people to go back through your feed. Find out what you did in the past. Look at your last year. What did people engage in? What did they avoid? Where did they share? And learn from those past mistakes or positive outcomes of what to start doing again, or what to recreate and duplicate over and over.
And as a new consultant, if you found your sponsor online in some capacity, go look at what they wrote that made you take action and respond, and go study some of the people that you think, you would, follow or take actionable steps from. So that's, again, you want to follow the people that speak to you, and then you'll probably get the people that you'll speak to if you try those kinds of techniques.
Okay, so we heard a little bit of good advice. I'd like to ask a question. Those of you that use social media quite often, how many of you have employed some of the things that Wendy and Sean were just talking about? Would anybody like to share one of those experiences and the success that you had with it? Yes, please.
Well, I have an 8-month-old, and when she was 3 months old, she fell in love with my little pig.
With the pig?
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it was mine. I didn't want to give it up, but she took it, and I took the cutest picture with her and posted it, and I said, even babies love Scentsy. And after that, I had every single person call me and ask where I could get the pig. Of course, I could not get the pig anymore, but Then I got asked for the owl, and then now that the chick has come up, I have officially sold 4 of the chick this month.
Nice, very nice. So just by simply posting a